The issue of mandatory vaccines is the hot topic on the campaign trail today. The Liberals and NDP say they'll require federal workers to be vaccinated. The Conservatives are touting rapid testing and masking for those who can't or don't want to be immunized.
But the bottom line is, if anyone who doesn't have a legitimate medical reason for not getting fully vaccinated chooses to not get vaccinated, there will be consequences.
But at the end of the day, if someone doesn't get vaccinated in places where we know that it would put people at risk and it's vital to get vaccinated, then they would not be able to continue working in those places.
In some cases where we can use daily rapid testing, masking and all other measures, we need to bring people together, not divide.
For more on the party's positions, from west to east, Jenny Kwan, BC NDP candidate, Michelle Rempel-Garner, Alberta Conservative candidate, and Karina Gould, Ontario Liberal candidate. Ms. Gould, I'm going to start with you. The Liberal plan on vaccines in the federal public service remains unclear. On this program, we have repeatedly asked what the consequences are for those who do not choose to get vaccinated. Today, Justin Trudeau said there will be consequences, but did not elaborate. What are the consequences for federal public servants who do not get vaccinated?
Well, thanks for the question, Katie. And as you know, we announced that we would be requiring all federal employees to be vaccinated. And those conversations are ongoing now with bargaining units and with unions to determine what exactly that looks like and what those consequences are. This is a new policy for the federal government, and so the Privy Council office is undertaking those conversations, but we are committed to ensuring that all federal employees are vaccinated.
Before I go around the panel here, but you made the announcement, your party, the government made the announcement on the eve of an election campaign, and should you not have known what the plan was going to be, what the consequences were going to be before you announced this?
Well, it's important to have made the announcement. It's government policy, and now those conversations are happening. And so,
but is it policy if you don't have the details worked out, though? The details aren't worked out. Is it not just election signaling rather than a policy if you don't have the details sorted out?
Well, those conversations are happening right now between the public service, the unions, the bargaining units, and those are important conversations to have. I mean, these are ensuring that public servants are vaccinated, but also making accommodations for those who are not able to for medical reasons. And so this is the policy that we have. We think it's an important one to keep Canadians safe, and we think it's an important demonstration of leadership at the federal level. And today, in fact, in Ontario, we saw a similar announcement by the Ontario government for those that work in healthcare and education. So I think it was a really important leadership moment that we demonstrated at the federal level.
Ms. Rempel-Garner, I want to ask you, the Conservative Party says people should not be forced into vaccination, but rather should be educated. From your perspective, does that go far enough to keep these workplaces safe?
Well, in a rare moment of what I hope we can all agree upon is that everybody should get vaccinated, and I encourage everybody to get a vaccine. I think that the approach that my party leader has outlined, which is to encourage vaccination, to absolutely promote education and access while utilizing tools like rapid testing, is congruent with some federal departments are already saying. I note that the Department of Defense website, for example, says that D&D management cannot require a public servant to get a vaccine, nor is mandatory vaccination supported under the Canadian law. So again, just to reemphasize, anybody who's watching this today, please get a vaccine. It's so important to public health. While we are, addressing these issues of education and access, we have a plan. We're saying, look, we are going to encourage people to get vaccinated, but we're also going to put in place mandatory daily rapid testing to ensure that people are safe.
And Ms. Kwan, before I get to you, I just want to ask a follow-up question to Ms. Rempel. We just got a statement that is breaking news to me, at least, from PSAC, which is one of the largest unions representing federal public servants. And it says this week, National Party leaders have made concerning statements about disciplining or terminating federal public service workers who choose not to get vaccinated. It goes on to say, according to this union, if there are workers who are unable or unwilling to be vaccinated, the government must temporarily reassign those employees to other duties where possible or allow alternate work arrangements such as remote work where required. Other measures should be explored, including regular screening and rapid testing. We just got this into our newsroom right now. Ms. Rempel, do you see that as not necessarily an endorsement of what your party is arguing for, but really sort of, well, maybe it is an endorsement of what your party is standing for, because that's pretty much what Erin O'Toole has laid out on the campaign trail?
Look, protecting public health to me is something that transcends partisan lines. I was really encouraged, for example, the work we did cross-party on the health committee between the NDP and the Bloc earlier this year to pressure the government to get more vaccines into Canada. I think what we need right now is a strong approach from the federal government that encourages education and access within the constraints of some of the things that you've just mentioned, but also utilizing tools like rapid testing to address public health concerns. So I know that the Public Service Alliance of Canada has made similar statements on their website before, and I think it is incumbent and responsible government, which is what we're trying to provide, to say we are going to work with stakeholders within different frameworks while keeping the public safe, and I think that our approach does that.
Ms. Kwan, I want to ask you about NDP leader Jagmeet Singh today. He suggested that disciplinary actions and consequences for federal public workers there will be in place for workers who refuse to get vaccinated. Can you tell me a little bit about what that looks like from the NDP perspective?
Well, first off, I would say this: the health and safety of Canadians must come first. And experts have told us that to try and stop the different variants from surfacing, we need to curb the spread. And the best way to do that is to get vaccinated. So getting the vaccination is not just for our own health, but for the health of others. And so that means we need to get as many people vaccinated as possible, and we need to get that commitment upfront with actions. What we have seen, of course, from the Liberal government and from Mr. Trudeau is waffling. Right? How could it be for the government to have made this announcement and they still don't know what the timeline is and what the consequences are? They made the announcement. It's so typical of the Liberals. They make announcements, they talk the talk, and then there is seldomly action to follow up. From our perspective, the NDP, we're the only party who's made it clear on where we stand on the issue. And we have said on the public record from our leader that we would work with the unions to map out the measures and to first encourage, to support, to facilitate the process to get people vaccinated. For people who have health issues, of course, and there are some people who may not be able to get vaccinated because of health issues, and that, of course, needs to be recognized, no question about that. And there are others who are hesitant for a variety of different reasons. We need to work with them to get them vaccinated. And then, of course, the union also will have a process within their collective agreement to which we can work with them and to facilitate that process. To ultimately, the goal is to get everybody vaccinated.
I understand that, and I think this entire panel is under agreement that vaccines are a good thing, that the more vaccines that get into arms are the best situation here. But I still don't understand, Ms. Kwan, what happens to a federal public servant if they don't get vaccinated?
Well, there are different processes to which we can follow. And first and foremost, it would be to work with the unions and to establish that process. And we just heard, actually, from PSAC themselves, who outlined a number of different measures as potential alternatives. And so we'll engage with them to find what I hope would be optimal resolution in this regard. Obviously, we don't want to see people fired as a result of this. That would be not our first goal. Our goal here is to get people vaccinated. We would follow the process, work with the unions to find that optimal resolution. And I hope at the end of the day that people will get vaccinated, because it is absolutely critical for all of us to do that, and so that we can try and stop the spread. And not only just stop the spread, but stop the variants from developing. Experts have told us over and over again, the more the virus is out there, the more likely it's going to have derivatives and variants that will surface, and then this will be ongoing. So we need to try and do what we can, and with the best science that's available to us, and that is to get vaccinated.
All right, we're going to pause the conversation there. I want to thank all three of you for taking time out of your very busy schedules to talk to us and to talk about vaccines. Thank you again.
Get vaccinated.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.